The number one reason why you men right now are struggling to feel whole and complete, and you don't feel whole and complete, you're unable to attract a proper healthy relationship, is because of what I'm going to be talking about in this video. And also, I don't want to make this a video to offend anybody. This is not to come after anybody, because I have been this person myself. At the end of it, we all are one and the same. Even though I'm a woman, you're a man, it's just what I believe. At least we are all part of source, and we all go into the same part of source. It's like every tree. I cannot have conversation without going to the trees and the clouds. But anyways, every tree, some trees are unable to survive due to storms or thunderstorms or whatever it is. Where do they go? They go back into the soil. They go back into source. And so we're the same. So the reason why I want to make this video is because I really want to be brutally honest, because I feel like humanity cannot shift their consciousness without brutal honesty, without brutal truth. And again, this is what I am noticing with the men that I work with. It's not like you're doing these things on purpose. And I feel like that is why I want to shed light, and that is why I have so much compassion for men. And the reason why this topic is so close and dear to me is because my father is this type of man. And so it took a long time for me to understand that I'm attracting men like him or the opposite of him. And the reason is because I never understood how to love another man, because I never felt that love from a man, right? And so again, it's not about me, but I really want to shed light on more than just relationships and dating. I want to go a little bit deeper than that. So if you are interested, then please keep on watching. And by the way, this is for men who are self-reflective and they have the ability to let their ego down. Because a lot of the times, that is why, to be honest, I changed the kind of men that I work with, and I realized that there's certain type of men that no matter how much pain and suffering they go through, they really need to figure this out on their own. And I'm not going to go too deep into that, but the men that I work with currently are men that are nice. They are, they lack boundaries. They struggle. I mean, to be honest, I work with every type of man. If you come to me and you're looking for help, of course, I'm here to help everybody. What I realize is that specific type of men that are overconfident, men that think that they can woo women with their money and with how they look, those are not the men that I am able to help, because I know that this ego that they have, and we all have ego, right? I have an ego, we all have an ego. We can't survive without an ego. But if we let that ego show up on the date instead of our heart, and that is where true suffering begins. When you lead in life with your ego, you want to look good, you want people to think you're amazing. You constantly need to be validated, and if a woman is unable to validate you, you feel like you're less than, or you feel like you now have to pick at her and devalue her, so then you feel better about yourself. So of course, those are the kind of men I can't work with, because I'm not a therapist. I would love to be. I always wanted to be a therapist, to be honest. But I know that that's not my job here on this planet. My job is to help men that are ready to be uncomfortable. They're ready to face their truth. They're ready to criticize and be honest with themselves. The first reason why you might be struggling to feel whole and complete, and you feel like something is missing in your life, is because you do not know who you truly are. Without the performance, without the act, without the funny jokes to, get rid of the awkwardness, you feel like you need to constantly talk and, talk about your accolades and all your accomplishments, and I can earn the money. And the amount of times when I ask men, what do you really bring to the table? And the majority of the time it has to do with money, with success, with wealth. And again, this doesn't have to do with men, because this is how men have been programmed. If you watch any movie, men are the providers. We never talk about men also able to balance their feminine energy along with their masculine energy. We always focus on the alpha male, the man in the gym, and all those kind of things. So I understand where this comes from. Maybe you're able to look at yourself and be like, oh shit, I need to do some work now. So my first tip is to figure out who you are to your core. Not the false sense of self that you have created, this mask, this facade that you have created because of society and because of what your parents have told you, or, don't cry as a man, that's not really masculine, or maybe in your past relationship that woman did not want to communicate to you, so you felt like, okay, maybe women don't want to communicate, but maybe the reason why you attracted that woman is because of your wounding, and because you said yes to settle, to fill a void, to make life easier for you. But the thing is, in life, whenever you're dating and people think, I'm just gonna settle, and even if I see red flags, it's okay, that we'll work on it together later, or whatever. Those are the difficult conversations that you actually need to have at the very beginning. With a woman, let's say she wants to sleep with you on the first date or the second date, most men find it hard to say no, which I understand why they find it hard. But this is again where your intention comes in. What is your true intention? What is your true purpose? Why are you on a date with this woman? Is it to have sex? Or do you want a long-term relationship where you're able to build a family and have a woman who's completely loyal and committed to you, and you have a secure relationship and you're able to travel and have fun? Like, what do you want in your life? And sometimes men just want to have sex, and that's okay. You just have to be honest about it. That's the only thing. We all are human. We all have needs, and that's completely fine, but you just have to be honest with it. It's like you want to bake a cake, but then you have a recipe to bake bread. It's just not going to transpire into what you're desiring. And the way to figure out who you are is to get quiet, get still with yourself. Put that phone down. Stop watching TV, because a lot of people, what they do, at least again, this is what I noticed, is they go to work, they have their work friends, they talk, they go to, break, whatever. They come back home, they watch TV. And by the way, right now, this is what I'm noticing as well, is that a lot of men, they don't want to go out as much. I mean, please send me comment down below. Are you a man who likes to go out? Because recently I've been finding that a lot of men want to stay at home due to COVID or whatever the scenario is in your life that has kind of enabled you to not want to go out as much. Maybe the dating scene, whatever it is, I don't know. So let me know if you're a man who likes to go out, or you just don't care to go out anymore. I'm really interested to know. So it's not about doing more, it's actually about doing less. And so getting still with yourself and creating solid boundaries with yourself after 7 p.m. I'm not going to my phone. When I wake up in the morning, I'm not going to look at my phone the first thing in the morning. All these things add up to this magic that we have in our head, this awareness, this consciousness that is able to then work on our benefit. Because we're constantly doing mind-numbing activities all day long, we're unable to feel ourselves. We don't even know who the hell we are. So my first thing is get to know yourself. Get to know what you like, what you dislike, and know that even later down the line, if you say, you know what, I don't like this anymore, that's completely fine. You don't have to be completely glued to what you want and what you like. Those things can change for sure, but just know what you want right now. Another tip that I would give as well is to not identify yourself as, and again, this has nothing to do with the identity crisis right now we're having. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about don't identify yourself as a man who has his job and I make this money. Like, that's not who you really are. That's what you do, but who you truly are. What do you believe in? What are your values? So really get deep into that. And the second reason why men are struggling right now more than ever, I have a big list, but I think I'm just gonna start with these two, is they lack spirituality. And I know that people will kind of, to be honest, I haven't received any backlash talking about spirituality and God as much as I have. So I don't know, maybe we're changing. I don't know what it is. I really thought I would get some men being like, shut that. What I'm noticing is that there's some men out there that say, oh yeah, I believe in things and there's something bigger than me, but they don't go deeper into that. They don't ask those questions. They don't reflect and really sit down and think about these things. So they might be even saying these things because women are talking about it so much. If you ever watch Pop the Balloon, most of the women that come out there, the first thing they say is, I want a man who is God-fearing or spiritual, whatever it is. And majority of the men, they're like, oh God, here we go again. Another reason why you might be struggling to feel whole and complete is because you're thinking in a very black and white way. The majority of the people in my life, they're very black and white. And what I've realized with people that are so black and white, there's no room for faith. There's no room for surrendering. There's no room for believing in something bigger than yourself. And also I feel like when you believe in black and white, you don't believe in miracles. You don't believe like things can just happen sometimes without any effort from your end, just because it's meant to happen as part of your destiny, it's part of your path. And you're now aligned to that frequency because of all the work, all the suffering you went through. And most of the men that I attracted to myself in my previous relationships are super black and white. And that's one of the things that I cannot connect with anymore, because I am not black and white. I'm very gray. I'm very open-minded. I don't believe in just it has to be this way. I believe that I can be right at the same time I can be wrong. And so I don't take myself and my opinions as a matter of fact. I mean, unless it's something to do with safety, that's a whole different topic. But just in regards to opinions and, what I believe, what I think, what you think, it's not so, it's not so matter of fact. I don't really get phased. But what really triggers me, and I'm sure this a lot of people can resonate with, is when your mother or your father comes over and they say the same story to you, and you're like, you start getting triggered, you start feeling yourself boiling up. And what I've realized is that my mother and my father, they're my biggest teachers, and they're really my test to see if I'm actually spiritual, if I'm actually connected to myself and God and the universe, or am I just talking some shit on YouTube and then going, and then cursing my mom out. And I've had moments of frustration and then I apologize. For example, I asked my mom to babysit my daughter, and my mom she has a lot of anxiety issues, and she does have some things going on, right? And so at first, I'm not gonna lie, I got super frustrated. I'm like, why are you my mom? Just being honest. And I'm like, my daughter's so lucky she has me. I'll do everything for, all these things. And I went back into my victim mentality. Like, why me? Why me? And I realized that this is my pattern, because when I was a child, when I was a teenager, all my friends, their parents were always together. They were so happy. They had a nice big house. And I was like, why do I have such shitty parents? Why do I live in this place? Why is my family so embarrassing? And I used to constantly just like, why me? And this is my pattern that I realize is something that I need to be aware of. So just how this is my pattern, you also have a pattern that you need to be aware of. And it's not just going to go away into thin air. One day you meditate and it's just gone. That's never going to happen. This is a daily practice that you have to cultivate in your life. It's like going to the gym. I can't go to the gym for 1 week and then take a year off. It just won't work. The last reason I'm going to mention is that since you don't know who you truly are at your core, what you tend to do is you tend to look at other men for advice, for how to be, for how to look, for what to say. So you see, charismatic works, rich works, successful works, big house works, nice expensive Tom Ford fragrance works, nice teeth work, nice tan works. So I know that some man out there is going to say, well, look at you. You have makeup on, you have your hair done, well, you're doing the same. Well, yes, correct. I am doing the same. Correct. I love makeup. I love beauty. I've been a makeup artist for a million years. So yes, of course. But I also work on my self-awareness. I'm also able to look at myself, my faults, and be like, you know what, Naz? You sucked right there. You weren't that great. And I'm honest with myself, and I'm sometimes a little bit brutally honest with myself. I'll be also getting expensive gifts for the girls you're going on a date with to prove how worthy you are of that relationship. And again, there's nothing wrong with expensive gifts. Let's get that very clear. Women love expensive gifts. There's nothing wrong with being generous. But when that generosity is not met then also with emotional availability, with vulnerability, all these things are lacking, there's no connection, there's no depth, that is when those gifts are just a bunch of garbage. They don't mean shit. And so if you have those gifts, but you're lacking internal work, you're lacking awareness, we're not going to get anywhere. And so then you're somebody who tends to follow the crowd like sheep. And so you're following men who are feeling, but they're pretending not to feel. Then you ask yourself, well, what is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? But the thing is, you're not doing anything wrong. You're just doing what society has taught you and what confused men are showing you. Hence, you might be spending majority of your time blaming people, blaming circumstances, blaming the dating apps, all this stuff. except for looking at yourself, which is maybe you are choosing women based on the attraction, but you're unable to ask deep questions on the date. Maybe you tend to talk to these women on a dating app for months on end and then wonder, well, where is it going? Why are they ghosting me? They're ghosting you because you don't have a plan of action. Maybe because you're inauthentic and ingenuine and you are afraid of showing your true vulnerable self. And a connected woman, a woman who really wants a relationship, a committed partner, and she is whole and complete, she is not going to see you as the father of her children. Or maybe because you settle for less. You see the red flags, but you choose to ignore it and you think, okay, maybe one day it's going to change. Maybe one day it'll get better. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to show up in the relationship and everything else will get taken care of. This is me, by the way. Newsflash, it won't. It just won't. Or maybe you tend to get insecure around the right woman, so you end up telling silly jokes, which is, there's nothing wrong with saying jokes, but you're saying those jokes to fill a void, fill a gap, so that you look better in her eyes and you think that is what is going to make her like you more if you make her laugh. You're not doing it because you genuinely just wanted to tell a joke. Or you tend to love bomb, and I feel like a lot of men don't even know what love bombing is, but it is literally just being too much too soon. And lastly, maybe you just get sexual too soon on the first or second date. You go bam, boom, bam. And I don't know what the hell that means, but you just have no self-control. You have no discipline. And so then you tend to attract women that want the exact same thing. They just want to have sex without any commitment, without any security, without any knowledge of who this person truly is. How am I spreading my legs for somebody I barely know? And by the way, we've all done it. I understand, but I'm just saying. I already knew this information, but I heard Patty, I forgot her last name, the matchmaker. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. She said that women get bonded through sex and men get bonded through emotions. If a man truly misses you, that's when you know, okay, this man really cares for me. So it's not always about dating apps or the women or the generation or whatever we want to blame it on. Sometimes it has to do with ourselves. So whenever I coach men, the first thing I want to know is, what are you doing wrong? What pattern are you repeating? And a lot of people, they are in a deer in headlights. They don't even know how to answer that question because me, I don't do anything wrong. What are you talking about? This is what I'm trying to say. I want you to reflect on and answer this question right now. What is something that you do wrong in your relationships? What is a pattern that you constantly repeat without any awareness? And as I've said before, I'm not perfect. The only thing is that I know these faults about myself and I try to work on it on a day-to-day basis. And that is all I want from you, is I want you to thoroughly reflect, be aware of where are your faults in the relationship and dating, and focus on yourself. Forget about the women, they're materialistic, they all want these things from you, blah, 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 blah. And focus on you. What are some of the things you are doing wrong? Are you choosing the wrong woman? You have two women, are you going for the woman with big boobs? Or are you choosing the women who might have B-size, smaller boobs, but your values are aligned with her? So really reflecting and asking yourself, why am I choosing this woman right now? Is it because she has big lips and a big ass and big whatever? Ask yourself these questions. Why am I attracted to this? Is it because porn these days, we see the same kind of woman over and over again? We all look the same. We're all looking. So really making sure, why are you attracted to the kind of people that you're being attracted to? I hope that I've been able to wake some people up or just help you reflect in whatever sense. I also want to mention that I do offer 15-minute free strategy calls. It's on audio, so we don't get to see face to face. I know a lot of men are shy to speak to me, but I don't bite. I just want to say thank you so much for watching, for all the new subscribers. I know I have not been that great at posting for the past couple of weeks, so I apologize. I'm going to keep at it. If somebody is still watching, God bless your soul. I want to say that I do want to have live coaching sessions for men that are really, really looking for help, and I'm going to do it for free. So you don't pay the 210 USD that I usually charge for 1 hour. So if that is something that you're interested in, and again, if maybe not a one-on-one session, maybe even an audio call. We could even do an audio call. So put it down below if this is something that you feel like you'd be interested in, a free session for 1 hour with me, whether it be on audio or a one-on-one session. Let me know down below, because I love coaching so much. And I feel like so many people need that help. And I feel like your story, your perspective, your pain, your suffering is going to help 10 other men. And that is why I feel like sharing the story is going to be so, so important. Not just for yourself, but for other people. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one.